I don't know if you could compare Brett in the huddle to anybody, man. He is just in there laughing, hully gully, drawing stuff up on the field, going at his own rate. Hey, give me this. I don't care what the play is, but give me this. Just trying to make things happen, and it's usually always right. That's the funny thing about it. It's usually always right.
This is Stacking the Box with NFL insider Matt Verderame and Mark Carman. This is not how it's supposed to go. Carson Wentz hurt. He's having a bone removed from his foot. Verderame, you ever had any bones removed or broken any bones?
No, I have not. I've broken bones. Never a bone removed. I've broken my thumb, my nose, my wrist. I think that's it.
Wait, hold on. How'd you break your thumb?
Well, I broke my thumb and my wrist in hockey on the same play. I was skating up the ice and a kid cross-checked me from behind, which for the people who don't follow hockey, he just basically took a stick, put it to my back, and he hit me from behind. And when I fell, you go to brace yourself. Well, I had my hands on my stick, so my hands got caught kind of underneath me instead of out in front of me. And so when my left hand landed, you can see my middle finger touched like the top of my arm, and you could just hear like crack, crack. And I jumped up, and my hand was just like wobbling around. And it was black and pretty big within about 2 minutes. So I missed 6 weeks, and it was my senior year of hockey. I was not thrilled about it. I wanted to find that kid afterward.
Do you remember the setting process, how painful that was?
That I was lucky. So it was not displaced. So they did have to cast it, obviously, and everything else. The worst part of it was that you had to, for the X-ray, you had to keep like moving your wrist into like different positions. That was not fun. But I remember they gave me a very big medical cocktail at the hospital, and they were like, "Here, just take these." And I felt pretty good after for about 24 hours or so.
So just for the record, the reason I'm going down the well here is because I fractured my wrist, not coolly like you. I did it in gymnastics, sophomore year gym, which I used to get out of swimming because I didn't want to swim, even though that would have been the perfect thing for my healing wrist. But I was running towards the pommel horse, Verderame, and I sprung, and I didn't spring well. And I thought, oh, my God, I'm not going to make it through this. So I pushed down extra hard because I thought I was going to rack the old family jewels. One more mention for you, Manscaped.
Yeah.
And pushing down extra hard cost me a fractured wrist.
Oh, yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's, in fact, I'm right-handed, and I said I broke my left. I broke my right wrist because I remember I couldn't write, or like having a bowl of cereal was a pain in the ass. Like it was just, everything was hard for 6 weeks, and you don't like value how easy like little things are in life. And then you break your dominant hand, dominant wrist, like all of a sudden, like everything's ridiculously difficult. So that was not fun.
Yeah, so it's not ideal, as we'll get to Carson Wentz now, that you just got there. Frank Reich loves you. You love Frank Reich. You love the offense. This is your new home. And now could be out 5 weeks, could be out 12 weeks. And there's also reports that he's going to try to play week 1. So what do you think the Colts do?
Well, as we're recording this, literally right now, it just came out that Quentin Nelson, their all-pro guard, has the exact same injury as Wentz and needs surgery and is going to miss 5 to 12 weeks. So they're in a world of hurt. Nelson is the best guard in the NFL. Obviously, as great as he is, your quarterback is more important than your guard. But now you have the situation where 5 to 12 weeks strikes me as a very bizarre timeline. Like, I'm not a doctor, but usually you hear, 6 to 8 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks. It's a smaller window. Like 5 to 12 weeks is the difference between him maybe playing week 1 and him missing half the season. So I tend to believe that foot injuries are difficult because obviously they're very weight bearing. And so you can't rush back from that. You've kind of got to wait. I'm not saying I think he's going to miss all 12 weeks. And again, who knows? I'm not a medical professional. Maybe he is back in 5. I tend to feel like he's probably going to split the baby there and be back after like a month of missing the NFL regular season. And if that's the case, like they're saying they're going to start Jacob Eason, who was last year's 5th round pick, big arm out of Georgia. I don't buy that. I feel like if they really feel Wentz is going to miss time as the summer goes on, they're going to make a move maybe for a Nick Foles or a Marcus Mariota, somebody like that.
So let's do the Nick Foles thing. Did you hear his press conference yesterday? I'm assuming you're not watching Bears press conferences like I am. Did you hear any of it or hear about it?
A little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing. A little bit.
So he talked about his favorite coach of all time is Frank Reich. It means a ton to be in a good organization. You don't just want to go anywhere because obviously the Bears are looking to trade him. And he's saying, I'm doing the best with the threes here. But he was like out there trying to get himself to Indy, which makes sense. But
oh, sure.
I just don't know if you're the Colts if you do that. What about Gardner Minshew?
Oh, if I'm the Colts all day, I just feel like in the division, Jacksonville might try to soak them a little bit more. But yeah, no question. Look, if you're the Colts, you've got to make a call on all these guys. Like, even if you really believe in Jacob Eason, you've at least got to make that phone call, right? You've got to find out what the price is. And I would think with Foles, it's got to be nothing. I mean, it's got to be a 6th, 7th round pick. I mean, how could it be more than that?
You just ask the Bears to eat the money, period. Hey, will you pay for this guy? Yes. Okay, fine. And we'll give you a 5th or 6th. Maybe
right. If they're eating the money, then the pick becomes better. Right. But I mean, if you're the Colts, you make that call. Obviously, Foles won a Super Bowl with Frank Reich in Philadelphia. Right. So there's a rapport there. Mariota to me he's a guy. I mean, he's not atrocious. Yeah, he could win you a couple of games. Look, here's the problem. I know we're going to get into this year, so why not go now? The Colts schedule the first 5 weeks is insane. I mean, no team in the league has a harder schedule than the Colts do. Seattle at home to start, home to the Rams, then a 3-game road trip with the Titans, the Dolphins, and the Ravens. I mean, with Wentz and Nelson, that could be 2-3, 1-4. Without them, you're staring at 0-5. They're going to be an underdog in every single one of those games if Jacob Eason's under center.
Well, the one thing you like for Indy is that they do want to put the ball on the ground. It helps, obviously, if you have a threat to throw it, but they will pound it, and you also have a short passing attack to them. Eason maybe can step in and be moderately effective. Go Colts. I'm trying to spray some optimism for you.
No, you're not wrong, right? They've got that triple-headed monster, Naheem Hines, who's been on the show a few times, Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, and I agree. But now Nelson's hurt, so that takes a chunk out of your interior run game.
That's a big problem.
They're also missing Eric Fisher, the left tackle, who's coming off the torn Achilles he suffered in the AFC title game for the Chiefs in January. So, they're missing guys, man. I mean, you're missing 2/5 of your starting offensive line. You're missing your quarterback. I mean, I don't think anybody in the world who plays them in that current scenario is going to do anything but stack the box, right? You're going to put 8 guys in there and just say, beat us. It's a division where, like, I think the butterfly effect of this is Tennessee now is in the pole position. I mean, they look like they've got the easiest road of any AFC team to win that division all of a sudden.
Let's tackle COVID. The Washington football team, we've got 7 guys already on the list. But the biggest thing that I'm tracking is Mike Zimmer's going nuts in Minnesota. Hey, I got no quarterbacks. If you guys can't get the vaccine, in essence, go F yourself. Like, he is over the top saying, I don't know what your problem is. Get the vaccine. It's like he's channeling his Stack in the Box podcast. And he's probably not alone, right?
Look, I mean, at some point, it's just enough of this shit. Like, if you're one of these coaches and you've got to send home, 6 players who've got to be on the COVID-19 list. Now, by the way, that doesn't mean that all of them have COVID, but at this point, if you're vaccinated, you're not a close contact. You're not deemed a close contact. So the only way you're landing on that list, to my understanding, is if you A, have COVID, or B, if you're unvaccinated and you were a close contact to one of the men who does have COVID. If you're Ron Rivera, who has 7 guys on the COVID-19 list, okay, if you're Minnesota and you're Mike Zimmer and your quarterback room is not there because everybody had to go home because of COVID, right? Like, that doesn't matter right now because it's August 3rd and it's whatever. It matters if it's October 3rd. Then it matters, right? Because the NFL is not going to care this year. If you have COVID, that's your problem. You didn't get vaccinated. There wasn't an option last year. They had to figure it out as the season went along. They had to bend, they had to be flexible. That is not the case in 2021. So, yes, I think if you're a coach, you have every right to be irate. And look, you know what? Both in the NFL and in the country, again, enough of this shit. Get vaccinated. Like, just stop. Unless you have a physical, like a medical condition where you can't. That is different, okay? Other than that, shut up with the idea that it's political and you might become magnetic and people might be able to track. Like, it's nonsense. It is nonsense. And I will give the NFL credit, by the way, give them a lot of credit. According to Judy Batista of NFL Media, 90% of the league's vaccinated. So they've done a very good job. That's a hell of a lot better than the friggin' country that's under 50%. Okay. But there's still room to go. And I'll tell you right now, and I've had people in the league say this to me more than once. If you are a bubble player and you're not vaccinated, you're gone. You're getting cut. That's happening.
So that's where it all comes down to. Look, if you're really, really good, if you're Aaron Rodgers good, Tom Brady good, whoever you want to name, okay. You have enough clout that you can do it. If you are player 46, 47, 53, 50, you're gone. You have no choice. You won't be on the roster. So I'm sure everybody knows that. And it's right. I let you go over the top of the vaccine.
And I'll say something else too. Even if you are a starter on a team, but you are a guy who maybe, the second team guy is not all that far behind and they can save a couple million cutting you. Yeah, they're going to cut you. Like, that's what's going to happen. No team is going to deal with this. Like, if let's just say, and I think it's actually 63 guys in the room. So let's just say, 63 guys in a room. 58 of the players are vaccinated. 5 guys aren't. Okay, let's say 3 of them are absolute impact players. Those guys aren't going anywhere. Those other 2 guys, those guys are on the first train out of town. Like, that's just the way it's going to be this year. And good luck proving it. Like, if you're a player and you feel like you got cut because of that, well, good luck. Good luck. You'd have to be able to prove that's why you got cut. No team's going to give a guy that ammunition. So good luck to you.
All right. On that note, let's bring in Alan Faneca, who, for record's sake, we actually talked with him yesterday, or I talked with him yesterday. You had daddy duty, which was slightly more important than the podcast. How'd you do, by the way? I know Maisie was a little under the weather.
Little under the weather. She's fine. Back in daycare. It was one of those 24-hour deals. She was on the fence on Sunday night, and we said, you know what? Just in case, I don't want the kid to have to muddle through for daycare. And so, yes, she basically watched 10 straight hours of Disney movies. So she was fine.
If you're scratching your head about Alan Faneca, started his career with the Steelers, 2 years with the Jets, 1 year with the Cardinals. He's awesome. I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. I know people miss when I'm not yelling at you, or more importantly, I think vice versa. But here comes Alan Faneca on Stacking the Box, which will be followed by the Niners Noise guys. We'll talk a little San Francisco, and then Verderame and I are coming back to entertain the living daylights out of you. Quick timeout, Stacking the Box. The Hall of Famer, 9-time Pro Bowler, 8 All-Pros, Super Bowl champion. Alan Faneca, you had a pretty good career over there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you're working today with Steps Towards Zero campaign. This is to inspire the epilepsy community and educate them about the steps they can take today to get them closer to zero seizures. I don't know how many people knew that you were dealing with this your entire career, were taking pills, and obviously you did okay with this extra, whatever you want to call it, challenge. Why did you want to work with Steps Towards Zero, Alan?
When they came to me with the campaign to kind of engage the epilepsy community and kind of challenge them to find what their zero was, and not everybody's going to be able to get to zero seizures, but to help engage them to find new paths of treatment with their doctors. It just seemed like a great path. Not settling for where you are in life now, but that you might be 40 years old and have epilepsy, and maybe you haven't really taken a serious look at your epilepsy treatment plan in 10 years, 20 years, 5 years. Things change, you change, your body changes, and just kind of getting people back out there and engaged and trying to find new paths seemed like a great thing to be a part of.
What was the biggest challenges during your playing days as far as dealing with the extra part?
It was really early on dealing with finding the medications and what worked for me, dealing with everything in high school as well. On top of that, those were the toughest times in there for me. Once I was found the right medication, I was really lucky. As long as I take it and I'm religious about it, I'm okay. So I'm very fortunate in that fact. And I've never had a seizure around the football field and whatnot. But there's always plans and action plans with the teams and organizations for any time something like that happened.
Did you live in fear that it could happen?
I never lived in fear, but I think there was definitely caution. Definitely. Oh man, did I take my medicine today? Stuff like that. I take 2 pills 3 times a day. So, it's something you got to think about quite often.
Yeah. So if I had told you back in 1998 that in 2021 you'd be going in the Hall of Fame, what would you have said?
Man, I don't know what I would have said, but and I'm not saying I wouldn't believe you, but I might have said, I'll take that. That's for sure. That sounds good to me.
What if I told you that Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger would still be playing today in the middle of your career?
That is funny. I do think about that. When those guys are still out there playing, and it's been a long time since I've touched the grass in a stadium. That is very funny. But they're fortunate enough to play positions where you're able to pull that off if you take care of your body.
Yeah. So Brady playing Belichick coaching, Tomlin coaching, or Roethlisberger playing, which of those 4 would you have said was the most unlikely?
Oh, Brady playing against Belichick for sure.
Yeah. That was highly entertaining. If you won a Super Bowl with the Steelers, but then you went to the Jets. I'm just curious, if you were to compare and contrast the 2 organizations, does anything stand out?
Pittsburgh is definitely a family-run organization. They're kind of like in the NFL, they're the mom and pop store that's on the corner. Everything's simple, but we do it damn good. In New York's big time city, and there's just definitely more going on in New York, but a little bit bigger of an organization, but still a lot of great people inside, and just a really good team to play for sure.
Okay, that's a big time compliment for the Jets that they normally don't get. But when you were there, you guys went to the playoffs and all of it. Any memories of playing with Favre?
Sure, man. That was the first time he stepped on the field. He came and watched us in that preseason game. It's like, man, I'm sitting here talking to Brett Favre. I'm out of the game. I'm talking to Brett Favre on the sideline. What in the world's going on around here? But just a great competitor, fun guy, fun-loving guy to play with. We had a really good season there. It just kind of collapsed on us a little bit at the end.
Yeah. If you were to compare Ben in the huddle to Brett, what would you say?
I don't know if you could compare Brett in the huddle to anybody, man. He is just in there laughing, hully-gully, drawing stuff up on the field, going at his own rate. Hey, give me this. I don't care what the play is, but give me this. Just trying to make things happen. And it's usually always right. That's the funny thing about it. He's usually always right and gets it right. And when you hear why he did it afterwards, he's just thinking on another plane. Ben is down to business. He gets in there. He wants to get in and out of the huddle, get us to the field, and then he wants to start figuring things out. He wants to start analyzing and seeing and getting us into the right play on that side once we get out of the huddle.
So Desert Island sounds like you'd rather hang out with Favre, just a little bit more fun. It could be, you can do no shot at Ben here, but that's what it sounds like.
No, I don't know. So Ben and I on an island, we probably get along really good. And Brett, we might laugh it up, but I don't know, man. Maybe like 2 months in, man. I mean, Brett, shut up, man. I need some time to myself today.
Yeah, no, I get it. That makes a whole lot of sense. I've just got a lot of comparison questions here. Cowher, Tomlin. I know you didn't play with Mike for all that long, but you had him for 1 year. That change, like, How did that like move the Steelers in your mind? Like, whoa, we were led this way and now we're being led that way. Does that make sense?
Very different. Yeah, very, very different. But I've gone back and I've done some coaching in the summertime with them, and they're very similar now that I look back on it and I've seen them a little bit more. And they're very similar. They both drive the franchise. They both are in charge and are doing a lot of the same things in their own styles, but if they're still accomplishing the same type of attitude and what they're trying to drive within the team.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite running back you blocked for?
Oh, well, that's Jerome for sure, man. That was special. I could always tell you the greatest thing about blocking with Jerome is I could almost always tell you where he was going, and that was great. So I would start cheating the play. I just got a really good feel. He was very consistent in what he was doing, and you knew Jerome was going to do so much, and then he was going to put his foot in the ground, and he was going to go north-south, and he was going to run into you and try and bowl you over and fall forward for 3 or 4 yards and take it where he can get. So whenever he did that and he would pop up and do his little shimmy, that was for the O-line. That might as well have been one of us doing it.
Yeah. The Bus seems like a fun guy to hang around too. He's always a gregarious fellow.
Oh yeah. He's a great guy.
Yeah. So let's wrap up here. You're a high school football coach now, Alan. Congratulations. What are you trying to give back?
I'm just trying to give back to the community, to the kids, to the guys. I've been there for 2 years helping out with the O-line, and the head coach stepped down and retired. And, the more I thought about it, it just seemed like a great thing to do, to be a part of it, kind of put my little fingerprint on it. And, I've told people and I've told the guys, man, I'm trying to help be a part of the community, right? It takes a village, right? Just to be part of the people to help raise these kids and the young men that are going to be great, be in our community. And I'm gonna try and do it through winning football games. So it's a fun way to do it. I'm not mom and dad at home. I'm out here trying to educate and teach them through football.
Does the guy over your right or left shoulder recognize the guy who's sitting here talking today?
He does not. I don't even know that guy. That's just some guy. Who is that back there? No, it's so funny. I look at pictures and I really don't associate with that guy anymore besides the memories, because it just doesn't look like me anymore.
That drive is in you somewhere, right? You can't completely get rid of that. All right. I think I'm up against the clock or so. I got to let you go, but I just got, because you got the LSU helmet there. How big can the SEC get here? Texas, Oklahoma. This is getting exhausting, Alan. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that right there, man. I have no idea. Obviously they might as well just break off and become their own little version of the NCAA, I guess.
Right. It's like it's the NFL within the NCAA. That's what the SEC, I guess, is kind of maybe going for. I don't know. Great. Hey, Congratulations on an amazing career and working with Epilepsy today to specifically the Steps Towards Zero campaign to inspire the community, which is a great give back. It's great to see you, Alan.
Thank you. And I'm not sure I said it, but go to stepstowardszero.com and you'll learn everything about it.
Stepstowardszero.com. Alan, great to talk to you.
Thank you.
And as promised, we move on to the San Francisco 49ers. Chris Wilson, Robert Morrison. If you're not listening to Niners Noise and checking out the website too, ninersnoise.com, then you are not as fully informed and entertained with your San Francisco 49ers as you could be. Gentlemen, appreciate you making time. When are they trading Jimmy Garoppolo? When's the Trey and Lance era going to start? Let's not waste any time here. Robert, you want to jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually don't expect that they'll probably trade Garoppolo. I imagine it will, at least not this season. It will probably be a end of the year kind of thing. I know a lot of people are getting on the he's going to Indianapolis thing now that Carson Wentz is hurt, but I don't think the Colts can afford him on his current contract, and I doubt Garoppolo is going to take a pay cut to go somewhere else and have to learn a new system and all that good stuff. So I think he'll probably get as much of a leash as he has the ability to use this season. But I could certainly see a situation similar to the Colin Kaepernick, Alex Smith type of thing, where if the door opens, Trey Lance could bust that thing wide open and take over the job.
Chris, are you emotional at all? Do you hang on to a Jimmy Garoppolo in your mind? Does he have a special place in your heart going to the Super Bowl at all, even though he overthrew
up there?
Yeah, see, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. We got a
Yeah.
bobblehead. All right. Or you like, hey, the sooner the better to get Trey on the field.
No, I don't necessarily take that stance. I wasn't very happy about the trade up, especially since we didn't really know who we were getting. And then doing that for the third quarterback in the draft historically has not been a good move. So, well, I've always been a Garoppolo fan just because he was like the immediate face of the franchise because we had nothing, before that. And it's like losing season after losing season. And then suddenly he comes in, win 5 games, and then his face is everywhere, and his handsome face. And, and, he was just, just a general, seems like he's a likable guy. It's just like, he's like he's like your neighbor, just in a lot better shape. Actually, I'm glad he's not my neighbor because my wife's sort of a big fan. So, yeah, I would really like to give him a shot at a full season because the only time he's ever played a full season, he took us to the Super Bowl. And Kyle Shanahan can't win football games without him. And that's sort of been established. I'm sure he could with a different quarterback. But is that quarterback ready now? I mean, he picked his guy, but it sounds like he really just picked a guy, like whoever was available at the time. So, yeah, I wasn't very happy about that. To answer your first question, they'll trade him as soon as they possibly can because Shanahan hates him, in my opinion. And this is why Robert and I have such a good time on the pod because he's like the voice of reason, and I just get like angry at various moves.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
In essence, do you guys not make any huge, drawing any huge conclusions from the early camp noise that Trey looks great? Does that mean anything to you?
No, I don't think. I mean, even like, I know Chris doesn't think so, but I mean, it's training camp noise. I think it's sort of the job of the beat writers and everybody to be like, oh, look how good everybody's doing, and that's part of the job, the whimsy of the job of the beat writer, I suppose. But I'm glad that he's looking great because that means if Shanahan wants to use him for something, which I do anticipate that he will get some playing time this year in some sort of package where they'll get him out there on the field to utilize his athleticism and his speed and his arm. But I think the team knows that this kid just turned 21 years old, and he will hopefully be the quarterback for 10 or 15 years, not just 2021. It's not about this season. It's about this season plus the next decade plus. So that's the key.
Well, let's handicap this season and specifically the division. It's obviously Stanford and the Rams is super interesting. Russ and the Seahawks that had a whole life of its own last year. I don't know if that's gonna die down or go back up to 10. And then the Cardinals were everybody's darling last year, but it didn't happen. They hung around for a while, and of course lost out the playoff spot to the Bears, which is kind of amazing and hard to do, but they did it. Where do you think the Niners fall in here, Chris?
Well, above Arizona because of Kingsbury. So, they can be as good as they want to be, but he's not going to win any games. So I'm not really too worried about them. And also, most of the problem that we've had with Kyler Murray is just a failure to address running quarterbacks, which is one of Salah's big deficiencies. And one reason why I think he'll make a better head coach than he was a DC, even though his stats are good. But his players were also pretty good too. So, and he's fine. He grew on me, but there's definitely a steep learning curve there. After that, for me, I'm maybe the only person in the world who's not scared of Stafford. Whereas it's like, Vegas has them, easily winning the division and has them with much better Super Bowl odds than the Niners, which I can understand that considering the year we had last year, but a lot of our problems last year were quarterback based, and hopefully now we'll have 2 instead of like a half a one. And then along with that, just general, the injuries we had the last 3 years just been crazy. I mean, actually, really ever since Shanahan and Lynch came to town, it's just been, it's been horrible out there. It's been like a bad, horrid movie.
Yeah. Robert, who's your pick to win the division?
Well, do I need to go full homer? I mean, I think the Niners have as good a chance as anybody to win this division, barring that like Chris was alluding to, if the injury situation is as bad as it was last year. And really people forget actually that they were pretty injured during the Super Bowl run too. It just wasn't any long-term injuries in like some of the worst places that you can have them, quarterback, pass rusher, that sort of thing. But like we were missing both of our tackles for extended periods during the Super Bowl run too. So sometimes it's about getting injured at the right time to the right players for the shortest period of time possible. But I think it's a Niners Rams sort of slugfest. I think the NFL thinks it's a Niners Rams slugfest too. If you look at the way the schedule works out, they play each other in the final week of the season, just like the Seahawks and the Niners did in the last game of the 2019 season. So I think it could come down to who wins that game. I'm a little more concerned about McVay having a serviceable quarterback, not named Jared Goff, but I think that the Niners have shown that they have McVay's number to a certain extent over the last couple of years as well. So I think it comes down to those two teams for me.
All right, now it's time for In or Out. Thanks to the Niners guys, and thanks to Alan Faneca. Hey, Verderame, you touched on this at the start. You're bullish on the Texans as we start In or Out. The Titans, excuse me, not the Texans. You were definitely not bullish on the Texans. Titans, no, you're not. The Titans are a top 3 team in the AFC. In or out?
I'm out, but I think because I think the Chiefs are better, the Bills are better, and I think I like Cleveland better, but I think the Titans are going to have a top 3 seed in the conference because the schedule is going to be a joke for them. They play in a division now where we don't know what the heck we're getting at Indianapolis. I mean, all of a sudden it looks like you got a team that has, frankly, a lot of injuries that could linger well into the season. And I get it. They could be back week 1, but they also might not be back week 1. They might not be back till week 7. So I think the Colts and all their injuries really open the door for the Titans. If you look at the Titans, look, their schedule is not like easy. I mean, they play the NFC West, so that's quite difficult. But really beyond that, you look, I mean, you got the 6 games against Indy, Houston, and Jacksonville. They play the AFC East, which I don't think is overly difficult. They get the Bills at home. They do play Kansas City, but they get them at home, actually back-to-back against the Bills and the Chiefs. You look at it and say, all right, look, the hard games on the schedule, like the games where they're clearly going to be an underdog. At Seattle week 2, they're not going to be an underdog again until probably I think they'll be favored against the Bills at home. Week 7 against the Chiefs, they're probably a dog. Week 9 at the Rams, I don't know. Week 12 at the Pats, maybe they're an underdog. I would pick the Titans to win that game. Week 15 at Pittsburgh, they get the Niners at home. Like, you look at that schedule, I think the Titans have 11 or 12 wins in them. And while I think the Ravens are as good and I think the Browns are slightly better, those teams were in the best division in the conference. They're going to beat up on each other. So I think if you're Tennessee, like, you got a real shot at getting a 2 or 3 seed.
If you were going to go, I'm in on this, by the way. I love Tennessee, but if you were going to go dark horse, win the AFC, everything falls right from Tennessee or the Chargers, who you taking?
Tennessee. Only because, and I like the Chargers, but because the Titans, again, I think in that scenario, maybe they get the 2 seed. Who knows? Maybe they even get the 1, like if they beat Kansas City. I mean, I think that'd be a little bit of a stretch, but they'll have home games in the playoffs. The Chargers would need the Chiefs to have a lot of injuries to have home games. Like, they'd be a wild card team, and I just think that's so tough on a young team.
The reason why I'm just saying this is because Herbert has the potential to, if he makes a step up here, then okay, now you get an elite quarterback, which you're not going to have in Tennessee. And if we're looking for outside the box plays on stacking the box, I think the Chargers are just an interesting team to look at. All right, Randall Cobb coming back to Green Bay. He will help the Packers in 2021. I don't see how he doesn't, but they're not in. They need him. They need him. I think he helps. Just not 1,000-yard helps, but I think he helps. I'll be in.
He helps.
Are you going out?
Yeah, no, he helps. I mean, look, would I rather have him on the field or like Equiminius St. Brown or like Marquez Valdez-Scantling? I'd probably have Randall Cobb, right? So, listen, I don't think he helps in the way Rodgers thinks he helps. Like, I don't think all of a sudden he's going to be out there having an 1,100-yard season. But at the same point, if there's anyone out there who's like, hey, Verderame, Aaron Rodgers knows more about Randall Cobb than you do, like, yeah, you're right. So I will defer to Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he changes like my opinion of the team, but yeah, it doesn't hurt. They got him for nothing, so why not?
Well, he helps in that Aaron Rodgers is at least 1% happier that he's there.
For sure. Yes. I mean, it doesn't hurt. There's no downside to it. So if you're the Packers, yeah, it was an easy move to make.
Let's move over to my guy Jameis. 10 starts for Jameis Winston. Let's go. Rejuvenate career. In or out?
I'm in. I think he will start most, if not all, of the games. I put this on there because I wanted to actually throw out an interesting scenario. So Michael Thomas had ankle surgery. He's out for the beginning of the season. They have no other receivers. None. Emmanuel Sanders is gone. He went to Buffalo. Jared Cook, tight end, he's gone. They have nobody else. Like, you look at their weaponry, it's Alvin Kamara, and that is it. And I wonder, like, if you're putting Jameis in a spot where he's got to throw into a bunch of tight windows to bad receivers, I feel like that's a recipe for 25 interceptions, is it not?
Oh, we've seen it before. Yes, go ahead.
We have seen it before, the incredible 30-30 campaign. So my point is, I think he's a lot better of a quarterback than Taysom Hill is. But with Taysom Hill, you can run that weird, like, Baltimore-style offense. Now, he's not Lamar Jackson, don't get me wrong, but you can run that style. And then Kamara and Hill, you run the ball, you keep teams on their toes. I almost think that's an easier way for New Orleans to win this year than it is to tell Jameis to drop back and throw to, like, Traquan Smith. So I actually think they should start Taysom Hill simply for the fact that I just don't think they can throw the ball reasonably well, and Winston has to be able to do that and do it a lot. But I do think he'll start because I think he's a better player.
I'm going to guess they play two quarterbacks a lot this year. I think you'll see them both on the field in the same game often. All right, let's wrap up with Philadelphia, and Jalen Hurts will prove to be the answer for the Eagles going forward, in or out.
I like Jalen Hurts a lot, but I'm out on this. The Eagles are just not good around him. And I think he will intrigue. There will be flashes. There will be some games where he plays really well. I think there's going to be other games against top-tier defenses where they are just so outclassed that he really doesn't have much of a chance. I love the fact he was coached up by Lincoln Riley and Nick Saban in college. Everybody you talk to in the league that I've spoken to says the same thing about him. Like, he's a really smart kid. He's got a lot of athletic ability. But my question is just, with that group around him, does he have a chance to truly succeed? So I'm out because I think the temptation is going to be to go get better at that position. And I don't think he's going to be able to show his full capability this year, but I do like his potential.
I'm in, man. I'm mainly because I want to be entertained, and also perhaps the competition in that division, even though, I mean, Washington, their defense is legit, but you can have success against Dallas, can't you? You can live the dream against the Giants, can't you? The Giants are actually kind of interesting. It's
the Giants, who had the biggest fight in the world, apparently, at camp on Tuesday morning.
Which is healthy, baby. Training camp fights, I'm for it.
I'm all for it, too, but, I mean, apparently Joe Judge was not. He was absolutely livid, according to our guy, Matt Lombardo, who was there, my buddy Pat Leonard, who covers his team for the Daily News. But it's been interesting. We've had a weird morning. I mean, I was recording this on a Tuesday. We had the Jets actually call practice early. Unfortunately, Cameron Clark, a backup offensive lineman for them, was placed on a spine board and put right in an ambulance. So hopefully he's okay. There was a scary injury at Carolina's practice where there was a hit that I don't know exactly what happened. There hasn't been any video that I've seen, but a player was also put into an ambulance. The safety who hit him was cut on the spot. So, I mean, you've had a busy morning. Obviously, Quentin Nelson now, 5 to 12 weeks. He's out. Tyreek Hill left practice early, although it didn't appear that it was anything significant. So, a lot going on Tuesday morning in the NFL.
Speaking of a lot going on here as we wrap it up here, Verderame, I think you got a big week right around the corner.
Yeah. So tomorrow, turning 33. So 33 trips around the sun. Can't complain. Happy to be here. Enjoying every day of it. Hopefully I get to live to 100. That's the dream. So I'm a third of the way home if I can make that happen. The family genes are good. Great grandfather 101. My dad's father 101. So it's possible.
What grade do you give yourself on year 32 as you look back?
Man, I gotta tell you, I think after the year we all just had, A. Like if you're happy and living and healthy, like after all this, hey, I think, listen, went through some personal tragedy with, losing my son. But survived the year. It's another day. I still have my job. I have my health. I have Maisie and my wife and my friends and colleagues. So I'm very happy. And Knicks, baby, got them back. Got the Knicks back. Okay. Had free agency. Yes, your boys very active. I don't know how you feel about it, but very active. My guy D Rose back in town for 3 years. Noel back for 3 years. Burks for 3 years. Fournier 3 years plus an option. But for everyone killing the Knicks, like, hey, they didn't get the big guy. I don't know who they would have gotten. And Carm, they actually didn't sign a terrible contract. Like, my biggest fear was that the Knicks were going to dole out like $4 and $160 for Kyle Lowry. They didn't do that. All these contracts are movable. And so when Damian Lillard or Zion Williamson wants out in the next year or two, they can trade some of these guys. It's a beautiful thing with the Knicks.
Okay, that was a whole trip around the sun there. First of all, I'm extremely upset that the Bulls paid $37 million for Alex Caruso.
You should be.
When Derrick Rose signed for 43, and yes, there's an extra year in there, but that's close enough. Come on, bring D Rose home. But maybe he wanted to be in New York with Tibbs. Congratulations on that. I do think that's a little bit heavy for D Rose at this point in his career, but I would have paid it because I love Derrick Rose. And I asked the question this year on what grade you gave, and I forgot for a second the challenges of the year. So you really it's just to recap that, Verderame, again, and you handled the personal tragedy so beautifully, and you talked about it on the podcast. So I just want to give you that props one more time, and prayers up to you and your wife and the family, and hey, we got Maisie out of the sick bay, so we're moving forward in a beautiful way.
Yeah, she's excited. She and my wife Steph are making my birthday cake. I wasn't gonna have a cake. I'm not a huge cake guy, believe that or not. And the other day, I gotta say, I don't know who it was. Somebody on my Twitter feed, it just popped up. Somebody had a peanut butter chocolate chip cookie dough cake with Reese's on top of it, and I requested that immediately. So that's being made this evening.
Who doesn't like cake? What type of person?
You know what? I'm somebody who I gotta have the right cake. Like, people always are infusing all this fruit crap. Like, look, give me a chocolate cake, give me a yellow cake, get me a funfetti cake. Funfetti, by the way, so underrated. But like, people have all this ice cream cake crap. Like, look, just get me, like, there's way too much nonsense with cakes. I'd rather have like some real nice Italian cookies or a cannoli. I love brownies, like fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. Like, that's more my jam. But a peanut butter chocolate chip cookie dough with Reese's on top cake. Oh, Maron, beautiful. I cannot wait for tomorrow to have that whole thing.
On that note, we will say goodbye, and thank you for listening. Alan Faneca, you're awesome. And the Niners, you guys are going to be interesting. We'll have you back on as well. Verderame, good to see you, my friend. Missed you yesterday.
You as well, Carm. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Stack in the Box. Liking, subscribing, rating. You get good things, and we love you most importantly. So thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. This podcast is brought to you by FanSided. Join our community of over 300 sites from sports to pop culture and everything in between.